Number 11. The Vatican's Secret Archives. Deep in the heart of the Vatican, hidden beneath the holiest of all places in the Catholic religion, are shelves containing 1,200 years worth of secret documents stretching 53 miles long. These are the Vatican's secret archives. While there are some people that don't believe that these sacred libraries exist, they are actually 100% real. But these legendary archives are only accessible to scholars once they reach 75 years old, making the truths hidden within them difficult to navigate. These secrets are also held inside of what can only be described as a fortress deep within the Vatican itself. And while the Catholic Church claims that there's nothing horrifying within their archives, that is definitely up for debate. There are some theories that claim the Vatican is hiding extraterrestrial beings deep within their secret Athenaeum. Of course, the Vatican would have you believe that the only thing stored inside of their giant vault is paperwork. 1,200 years of worthless paperwork. This probably isn't true, though there is no definitive proof going either way. While we definitely don't know everything that's hidden within the Catholic Church's most impressive collection of documents, there are some ancient papers that have been revealed through the years. For example, according to the History Channel, an extremely secret document known as the Chinon Parchment was rediscovered in 2001 and then made public in 2007. This document details the trials of the Roman Catholic military, or the Knights Templar, proving that they were absolved of heresy in 1308 by Pope Clement V. But that's only one impressive historical document. The truth is that nobody can access the archives. Even the top scholars in the Church's history need to go through a very rigorous vetting process before they're even allowed to step foot inside the vault. As much as the world would love to know all of the mysterious information stored in this vast and holy place, the truth is that the Vatican's secret archives will probably never be public knowledge. Number 10. The Vatican's Grand Grimoire. The Grand Grimoire is rumored to be a medieval book full of secrets, powers, and alleged black magic. While there have been multiple copies of this book written and published throughout the years, the only place you could find the original, completely unedited copy is within the Vatican's archives. Written all the way back in the 1500s by Honorius of Thebes, the Grand Grimoire is said to contain instructions on how to perform or create different spells and rituals, magic amulet and talisman crafting, or even how to summon and communicate with demonic entities. Arguably the most sinister aspect of the book is that it's rumored to have instructions on how to both summon and make deals with Satan himself. The Vatican keeps a strong watch over the book, claiming that it could cause absolute devastation if someone with malicious or greedy intentions were to get their hands on it, since they believe it holds significantly more power than any of the other copies of the book that have been created. Number 9. The Chronovisor. Allegedly invented and owned by the Vatican, the Chronovisor is a device that is rumored to have the ability to allow the wearer to see events of the past. You put the device on like a pair of goggles or glasses, and it's theoretically supposed to work by collecting and processing leftover electromagnetic radiation from past scenarios and events before converting that radiation into both visual and audio form through the lenses. Father Francois BRUNE described the invention in a book he wrote in 2002 entitled NOUVEAU MYSTERE de VATICAN, where he also claimed that with the device he had been able to witness Jesus Christ's crucifixion and the tragedy of Thyestes. The Vatican saw how powerful the device was and grew worried about such an advanced invention remaining in existence, so they destroyed it shortly after it was created. While there's no real proof of the Chronovisor ever existing, some believe that evidence of it, or even the machine itself, is still locked away somewhere in the Vatican's secret archives, away from anyone else's access. Number 8. Fatima's Secrets. The 3 secrets of Fatima refer to a series of 3 visions and prophecies of the apocalypse. They were shown to a group of young shepherds in Portugal in 1917 by a supernatural presence of the Virgin Mary. The 3 shepherds were Lucia Santos and her 2 cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Marto. The 3 visions they all saw were related to hell, both world wars, and persecution of Christians in the 20th century. The first secret shown to the children was a graphic vision of the underworld, full of fire, demons, and suffering. The second vision promised the children that World War I would be ending soon, and there would be another war if man kept straying further from God. The third and arguably most controversial secret wasn't documented by Lucia Santos in her 1941 memoir. She later wrote about it before her death, and it was taken to Rome and eventually found its way into the Vatican afterwards in 1957. The secret wasn't publicly revealed until much later in 2000, where it was stated that the third secret was that Christians would be persecuted in the 1900s, and that there would be an attempted assassination on Pope John Paul II. Controversy began when people started to speculate that the version of the secret made public wasn't the same as what was shown to the three shepherds, and that the real secret is still locked away in the Vatican archives. What do you think the third secret really was? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 7. Ties with the Mafia. On September 29th of 1978, Pope John Paul I was discovered dead in his room after 33 days in legitimate office. The cause of death was claimed to have been a heart attack by officials at the Vatican, but there was never an autopsy performed on him to back that claim up or to prove it to be true. So no one was 100% certain what had really happened. 4 years later, in 1982, Father Paul Marcinkus, the president of the Vatican Bank, resigned from his position after it was revealed that he had been heavily involved in multiple scandals that tied the bank to the mafia and organized crime. This inevitably forced the bank into repaying roughly $200 million back to its creditors in the wake of the scandal. Marcinkus was never actually charged with any crimes relating to the incident after he had resigned from his job, but this situation still led people to believe that both he and the Mafia had some degree of a role in several mysterious deaths in the Vatican, especially that of Pope John Paul. While it has been proven that in the late 70s and early 80s the Vatican had at least some ties with organized crime, to this day no one knows for sure what truly happened to Pope John Paul. Number 6. The Bones of St. Peter. In the year 1939, under the largest church in the world in the heart of Vatican City, St. Peter's Basilica, 9 different bone fragments were discovered. They were supposedly found by accident in a shoebox. But decades later, in 2013, Pope Francis publicly displayed the bones, and speculation about what they were and who they came from began to circulate after he immediately locked them away after the Sunday service. No one else has seen the bones since that day, making the situation all the more suspicious and confusing to some. This led people to believe that the bones were those of St. Peter himself, though the Pope has yet to confirm or deny this claim. Instead of being given to scholars and experts to be analyzed, the bones still remain locked away in the Vatican's archives to this day. While the Vatican has claimed they did this as a way to prevent a 1,000-year-old curse surrounding what could happen if St. Peter's tomb were to be disturbed, many people view this as merely an excuse. There's many different theories as to why the bones haven't been shown to the public again in over a decade now, and many still wonder why the Vatican is still choosing to be so secretive with them. What do you think the curse is? Number 5. The Trial of Galileo. Credited as one of the first real, quote, science versus religion debates, the 1633 trial of Galileo Galilei challenged many existing beliefs of the time. Galileo is credited today for his contributions to the field of astronomy and his various discoveries, but many people in his day didn't have the appreciation for his findings that we do now. He was taken in by the Inquisition and put on trial because of his beliefs that the Earth orbited around the Sun, when the widely accepted theory at the time was that the Sun went around the Earth. Prior to the official trial, he was still actively being harassed for his opinions, and people had attempted to intimidate him into abandoning his theories and discoveries. The trial ended with Galileo agreeing to diminish his own beliefs after the Pope declared them to be heretical. He avoided being burnt at the stake by agreeing to recant his view that the Sun, not the Earth, was at the center of the universe. Still, the Vatican banned his books. Galileo spent the rest of his life on house arrest until his death in 1642 at the age of 77. The Roman Catholic Church only formally admitted its, quote, error in condemning Galileo's assertion in 1992. Number 4. King Henry VIII's threat. In 1530, King Henry VIII of England presented the Vatican with a 3-foot wide scroll of parchment that had over 80 wax seals on it from various important figures, including English nobles, members of the clergy, and the Archbishop of Canterbury himself. The purpose of his giant letter was to get Pope Clement VII to allow King Henry to separate from Catherine of Aragon, his wife at the time, so that he could marry Anne Boleyn. The letter's tone was very strong and aggressive, with King Henry threatening to go to, quote, extreme measures and stating that he would, quote, find remedies elsewhere if the Pope refused to annul his current marriage. The letter was ignored by the Vatican, who seemingly weren't fazed by the threats King Henry was directing at them, sparking outrage on King Henry's part. He broke off his former ties with Rome, which ended up being a factor in the start of the English Reformation. Today, the entire unaltered letter is kept in the archives of the Vatican. The letter actually became misplaced and was unable to be found again for many years before they simply found it under a chair in 1926. Number 3. An early airplane? In the early 1700s, Bartolomeu Lorenzo de Guzmão was on his way to success when he invented what some credit to be the first real step towards human flight. He sketched plans of a large bird-shaped airship that was going to be powered by both wind and magnets installed inside of it. He was supposed to test his machine publicly in June of 1709, but the test never took place as planned. The Portuguese king at the time, João V, was said to have been very impressed with Guzmão's work, rewarding him with a professorship position in the city of Coimbra. However, not everyone shared the king's views on his new creation. The Portuguese Inquisition branded him as a, quote, blasphemous magician, and eventually forced him to burn and discard all of his work, completely abandoning the ideas and the progress that he had made. Guzmão died with no real notoriety to his name for a very long time. Today, the Vatican has possession of his original blueprints and drawings for the airship, and whatever other evidence remained after he was forced to destroy the majority of it and give up on his plans. Number 2. Pope Pius IX. Tucked away amongst the Vatican's secret archives are multiple letters that Pope Pius IX received from U.S. President Abraham Lincoln. One letter was written as a way to introduce Rufus King to the Pope. King was an important engineer, journalist, and politician throughout the 1800s in America. His grandfather was a member of the Continental Congress, and his father was the president of Columbia College for a time. King caught the attention of President Lincoln, who eventually made the decision to appoint him as Minister of the Papal States in 1861. He was on his way to Rome when the Civil War broke out, which made him return to America, where he served as a general in the Wisconsin militia. After the war was over, he made a full trip to Italy and served in Vatican City in an infantry force made to protect the Papal States. In his 1863 letter, President Lincoln described who King was and how confident he was that King would be able to excel at his new post to the Pope, whom Lincoln referred to as his great and good friend. Number 1. Martin Luther's Excommunication. When Martin Luther rebelled against the Catholic Church and took part heavily in the Protestant Reformation movement, he changed the path of religious beliefs in both Europe and the wider world. Born on November 10th in 1483, Luther became a professor of theology after finishing his education, before he became a vital figure in the Reformation movement. Stored away in the Vatican's archives is the direct order that led to the excommunication of Luther, officially known as the Decet Romanum Pontificem. This order was given by the Pope in 1521 and sparked the start of Luther's journey as a religious rebel and revolutionary. He was fiercely devoted to the Bible as well and critical of the corruption happening within the Catholic Church at the time. This led the Church to view him as a threat and expel him from the congregation. Luther lived a relatively long life after his excommunication and continued to teach and spread his messages before he passed away in 1543 of various illnesses and conditions due to his overall failing health. Thanks for watching. Know of any Vatican secrets that I didn't mention here? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you next time on the Bored Badger.